Hi, Math 143 people. This is the mother lode video on comparing the Hamilton and Jefferson method of apportionment. And I hope you liked the video with the guy talking about how they use this for picking the number of seats for Congress and for the Senate and the House in America. We no longer use each of these methods today, but these are similar to the methods used, so it's just kind of interesting to know. So I made this situation up. Of course, California doesn't have 2,000 people. I made this up for us to just use. And I'm saying that we want to fill 200 seats for Congress. Now, in your odigit questions, it's not going to give you a nice little chart like this. You're going to have to, it's going to ask you like, if we need 200 people for Senate, and here are the populations of the states, how many people would North Carolina get? How many people would South Carolina get? And you're going to have to know these final things, these final answers. But this chart kind of set up helps you get there. So let's check it out. The first thing you're always going to need to do is sum the amount of people total in your regions. So I want to either type in B4 colon B11, or I can drag from B4 to B11. So I have my sum of people there. I need to go to my standard divisor. Standard divisor isn't anything special. It's not like a number of people or anything, but it's something that's going to get you to your number of people. It's like an intermediate step. So type in equals. And it equals your population, 2,177,499 people, divided by the number to be apportioned. I want to apportion 200 seats. Now, one thing that you need to be careful of is we're going to drag this guy down. Also, let me drag it down and show you what I want you to be aware of. Say I was lazy and I didn't want to type in that 2 million, which I do all the time, and I say, okay, instead of typing that in, I want to just reference that cell. That's totally fine. I get the right answer. Here's the issue. Whenever I scroll that down, oh my gosh, what happened? Well, what happened is it scrolled down with it. Then it's now referencing B13, B14, B15, and there's nothing there. So that's why with this one, the standard divisor, I need to manually type in that number and scroll it down. Everything else today, we're going to be as lazy as we can be and just reference cells. All right, so now I need my standard quotient. The standard quotient is my final number of representatives almost. It's going to have a decimal portion though. So my standard quotient equals the group population. So the group population of Pennsylvania is 25,000 divided by your standard divisor. So Pennsylvania is going to be apportioned 2.3 people. And again, you get that. You need to know that formula. Standard quotient, group population divided by your standard divisor. And if I go ahead and scroll that down, I can see how many people each state is getting. And I hope you're thinking the same thing as me. Well, how do you have 0.3 of a person? You can't, right? So I'm going to look over here at my final number of reps. Now, instead of going through manually and just truncating all these guys, I'm not going to round them. I'm just going to truncate them. Truncate them is whenever you get rid of the decimal portion. I don't feel like doing that by hand. So if I type in this thing, equals round down, notice there's two D's there, round down, left parenthesis. Well, what do I want to round down? That cell right there, comma, well, how many places past the decimal? 0. So round down, reference the cell you want to round down, comma, 0 places past the decimal. It went ahead and truncated my 2.3. And I do want to bring that all the way down. Now, we did learn in the video that you can't have 0 people representatives from a state, so I need to manually clear this one out and actually give, what is that, California, 1 person. I need to go down here and get rid of this guy and manually type in 1 person because every state has to have at least 1 person. So this is our final number of reps, but let's see if we've hit our 200. So I'm going to total that column by summing the column. I've only hit 199 people. I need 1 more seat, right? Here is the big difference between Hamilton and Jefferson. Using Hamilton's method, if you need 1 more person, or 2 more, or 3 more, it doesn't matter, you go ahead and look at the 10th place now. We haven't used the 10th place. Whoever has the highest 10th place, this guy does, New Jersey, you go ahead and give that 1 extra person. So whatever place has the highest 10th place, give them 1 extra. Say this had been like let me get out of that. Say this had been 195 and you had 5 seats to give away to get to the 200. You would continue giving away seats, the highest 10th place, the next highest 10th place, and so on until this is 200 seats. That was your goal. So our goal over here is going to be the same thing, 200 seats, but using a different method. So that's Hamilton's. Jefferson's is identical. We're going to do the same thing for all these columns, except for at the very end, when this is 199 or whatever, we're going to have a different method for figuring out who to give that one seat to. So remember, we totaled our states, population. For standard divisor, I had to actually type in equals that 2 million population, divided by the number of seats to be apportioned, 200. And I'm going to drag that down because they all have the same standard divisor. Standard quotient, this is the amount of representatives, but with the decimal part. So that's equal to, remember, the group population divided by your standard divisor. Drag that down. Okay, so I can see how many people each state's getting. I can't have 0.23 of a person though, so I'm going to go over here and equals round down, left parenthesis, I want to round down that cell, comma, to 0 places past the decimal. And then I'm going to drag that down to here. So I have all my decimal portions. If you hate looking at a decimal, you can always go like this and it takes it over. So you don't have a decimal. 2.0 is the same thing, it's just 2. Remember that a state can't have 0 people. So I'm going to go in here and fill in those ones. And let's see if we've hit our 200 people yet. I'm summing all of our representatives. Oh, I have 199 people. Get rid of those decimals just because I feel like it. Okay, so here's the big deal. Here's the big deal. This is how it's different than Hamilton's method. In Hamilton's, we went and looked at the 10th place to give that guy one more person. Here, you don't touch this. You touch your standard divisor. And this is called a modified divisor. Meaning I start with 10,887 in my brain, and I'm going to go ahead and manually change it and see how that changes my final number of reps. So I'm going to say, well, let me try 11,000 people. I'm going to drag that down. If the standard divisor were 11,000 people, would this be 200? Nope, I went down to 196. Well, let me try, what did I have before? Like 10,800 something. Let me try 10,900. Again, I'm just pulling stuff out of my hat. I'm starting with 10,887 as my base, but then I'm just fiddling around with this number until this guy's 200. I'm not quite 200 yet. So let me go 10,980 people. Okay, I'm just making this up, right? 10,980 people. And let's see if bringing that down. Oh, I went down too far. Okay, let's go 10,500 people. Ah, I went up too high. Okay, 10,600 people. This is a bit exasperating sometimes. I'm up too high. Gosh, now I'm losing track of what I've done. Can't remember if I went up or down. 800 people. Let's just try it. Ah, I'm at 200. I want you to realize this. Somebody else, the standard divisor, the modified divisor, sorry, is a range of numbers that could work to get this to be 200. So if you did this on your computer, you might have 10,850 people, and your 10,850 worked to make this 200. This is a range, so there's not one standard divisor that's going to make this 200. There's a bunch of possibilities. So that's the big difference between Hamilton and Jefferson. So hopefully you can go to your Odigia and do this now. And again, you might have to set up your own charts. So this is a great model in order to find your final number of reps. Make sure you know your formulas. Standard divisor. Oh, standard divisor is your total population divided by the number of seats to be apportioned. Standard quotient was your group population divided by your standard divisor. And your goal is always to get to how many seats to be apportioned. All right, go do your homework.